Never mind.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Building and Chatting podcast. Today, I have my co-host WM and my friend Parker, or Swearing Sailor, as he's called there. But today, we are going to be covering HBO's version of The Last of Us, which hit screens back in January, but we are finally getting to it now. We are going to be covering the first five episodes that have been released so far, which is episodes, of course, episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Duh. And we are going to talk about them, give our thoughts, and then, yeah, we'll end this vid or podcast, whatever. All right, so first of all, let's introduce everybody. As I said, we got WM and we got my friend Parker. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so now we are going to cover Last of Us. So what of course we're gonna start with episode one, which I think it's called like A New Day or something, but this was a really good first episode. But first of all, what did you guys think about The Last of Us just in its entirety before we go on?
It's so sad, but it's so good.
Yeah. What did you think, WM?
I agree. Aside from yeah, it's like mostly good.
All right. So we're going to get right into episode one. And so at the beginning of episode one, everybody, um, there's these doctors talking, right? And they're saying like, what happens if a fungal outbreak occurred, and what if like cordyceps or something attached itself to humans, right? What if this fungus attached itself to humans and was able to survive? What would happen? And they were basically like, there would be no vaccines, no cure. Everything would just be dead. Like everyone would just die. There would be no cure. There could be nothing to stop that. And that's how it opens. And then we get, of course, the intro where the fungus is growing and played also accompanied by the amazing Last of Us score, which is from the video game as well. And then we get into the events from the game, which is, of course, starts with Sarah waking up on her dad's birthday. And that's where this episode starts. Is Sarah wakes up and goes to eat breakfast with her dad. And and then after that, they have breakfast and stuff, and then she goes to school and all that, right? Boys.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
before she le- but before she leaves from school, she gets Joel's old pocket watch that's broken, and gets money, like I think what, $40, and then takes that with her to school as well, and also sees his pocket knife, thinks it's cool, whatever. And while they're going outside to get in their car, because right now it's Joel's brother Tommy, and Sarah. They're going to go drop her off at school, and then they got to go work at the construction site or whatever. And so the neighbors talk to them, which is some friendly old people, the Adlers. They're talking to them, and then the husband is feeding her, or the husband is feeding his wife some biscuits, which if you once we get into it later, we'll reveal why that's a big thing. But yeah, they're eating biscuits. Joel and his family don't eat any, and then they take his daughter to school. So yeah, that's the beginning of the episode. So who wants to cover the next part, which is Sarah's at school, and then the rest of that part? Do you want to cover it, WM or Parker? Or I can. I don't mind.
I know what happens after that.
Do you want me to cover up until? Okay, so I'll cover her day, right, and then you guys can cover when she gets home, right?
Yeah, I was doing
Bec-
stop motion while I was watching this, so I might have been distracted at a few vital moments. I'm realizing
all right, so
it's
I'll
fine
cover
though.
this
I
a little.
can. I can
I
piece
can
it
cover it a little
together.
more. But basically, she goes to school, right? And then she goes to the watch shop to fix her father's watch, to fix Joel's watch. And then the shopkeeper is like, "Get out of here! Something bad's going on. You gotta go. We're closed." And Sarah's like, "Huh, that's weird." But then she goes over to her to the old people's house. Remember, because they invited her over, and her
Oh yeah,
and
and
her
she's like,
neighbor,
is
yeah,
anything weird going on in the news? Because there's a lot of cop cars out, and the old lady's like, that's every day.
yeah, the neighbor's like, "That's every day." Yeah, and then after that, they make some cookies, and then she gets a movie to borrow from them. And then she says, "Well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Adler, but I gotta go home." And then before she goes home, she sees their little border collie dog looking at the old woman that was getting fed the biscuits earlier. We figure out that this was actually the neighbor's mom, and that mom is not feeling too well, and the dog's looking at her very concerned, like. And yeah, so, but she's like, it's probably nothing, and leaves and waits for her dad to get home. And now we are at the night of the apocalypse. Do you guys want to cover this one? Do you guys remember this?
Yeah, I remember most of it.
This is the
So they're watching the
nighttime when
movie, and
Joel
then
comes home. Yeah, they're watching
they're
the
watching the
movie.
movie, and then he's like, "Don't fall asleep" or something. And she's like, "I can't. It's too captivating," something like that. And then uh, she does, and he gets a
Yeah,
call from his brother. What's his name?
Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy. He gets a call, and he's like,
Joel
"I
gets
got
a call
arrested
from
again."
his brother.
Yes.
Yeah,
I got arrested. Tommy says, "I got arrested again." And then he's like, "Again?" Joel is, and Tommy's like, "It's not my fault this time." And like talking about how this drunk, he thought, well, I don't, yeah, I think he said he thought a drunk guy uh, got mad at a waitress and started swinging at her. So then he had to step in, and so now
yeah, and
he's got to get him out of jail, or else he's gonna be in there the weekend.
mhm.
So
So,
then,
yeah, so mhm. What happens next?
I like how they told more about not Ellie, what's her name? Sarah's story.
Sarah.
Yeah. You said that they didn't have that in the game. They didn't talk about They didn't talk about her more in the game. I kind of like that.
Yeah, well, if we're also talking about the game too, the game did not have the day portion where she wakes up and goes to school and everything. That wasn't in the game.
Yeah.
The game starts when Joel arrives home at night. That's when The Last of Us starts. So yeah, we got a lot more content in the show for sure. But yeah, but of course Joel is like, "Okay, Tommy, I'm coming to get you, Jesus." And then he puts Sarah to bed and leaves to go get Tommy, pays bail or whatever. And then Sarah wakes up to commotion, jets going over her house, and just she hears dogs barking. She's like, "What's going on out there?" And so she goes downstairs, opens the door, and then the border collie, the neighbor's border collie doggy, is there at the front porch,
oh yeah, it's
and
like
it's
barking at the
shaking.
window, right?
Yeah, it's scared. It's freaking out. And she's like, what's going on?" And then she goes over to the neighbor's house, and then to bring the dog back, and that dog was like, "No, I'm out of here," and bolts off like Usain Bolt, bro. That dog is gone. and and she goes inside, and well, she slips him some strawberry jelly, aka blood, and then she sees uh the mother, the old lady, chomping down on her husband and her daughter. And then and then the old lady starts running at her. And then Sarah's like, "I gotta get the F out of here." And then she starts running. And then Joe and Tommy are like, "Sarah, hey baby, come on." And then and Tommy has a gun pointed at this old woman. And then Joe has a wrench or something, and then he hits the old lady zombie with the wrench. It's like,
Yeah,
and
and he
Sarah's
kills
like, you
her.
killed her, Dad. Yeah, you killed her, Daddy. And it's like, I know, baby girl, I'm sorry, but we gotta go now. Something's up with the neighbors. Something's up with them. And then they get in the truck and they start going to the highway. And they have a few roadblocks, right? But
Yes.
they make it to town, and then they get hit with, and then a plane blows up, and some of the metal ricochets off their truck and makes them crash. So what happens next, everybody? What happens next on this lovely show? On this happy, fun, dovey show? No,
Okay, so they're the crash right now, right?
yeah, the truck crash.
And didn't Sarah get like stabbed with
Her,
the part of the car?
yeah, her leg got broke. Her ankle got broken or hurt. Yeah,
Yeah, so then Joel's having to carry her, and they
hmm
come across like is
a
it an army
horde.
guy?
No, yeah, it's an army dude that's a zombie that became a zombie. So they start running. Yeah.
Yeah, and then no, I'm talking about the guy with like the gun.
Oh yeah, they come across the well. First of all, they come across that one zombie that chases them through the diner,
Oh
and
yeah,
then and then the soldier dude, like you said, shoots that zombie, and then what happens? WM.
he's Joel is like, we're not sick. Yeah, we're not sick, and then he's gonna shoot them, and he's like, but we're not sick, and then
Yeah, he calls his boss. He's like, "Sir, but please, sir, it's just a little girl," and he's like, and then the boss is like, we don't hear what the boss says, but he says, "Yes, sir." And then what happens?
okay, uh doesn't Tommy shoot
No, no, no.
the
The soldier shoots at Joe and Sarah.
I know Sarah dies.
Yeah, Tommy shoots the soldier to save Joel, and then Joel sees that Sarah is lying on the ground with a
Yeah,
gunshot wound. Yeah,
and he's like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. Uh, and
and
then it's
then
not okay, and then it's
it's not
20 years
okay.
later, and she's
Yeah,
dead.
she dies, and then it's 20 years later, and now we are in Boston. We were in Texas, but now 20 years later, Joe ended up in Boston, Massachusetts, in the year 2023. This year, wow, so convenient. But but yeah. So what happens next is what Oh, Parker, do you want to cover this part? It's the little boy.
Oh, the from the last episode.
No, no, episode one. Episode one. Oh, never mind. I'll cover this
Little
part.
boy.
So a little boy is walking to the Boston quarantine zone, right? And he falls over, and these soldiers see him, right? And they're like, let's get him some food and water or whatever. Let's help him out. So they go to scan him for cordyceps, like the infection, right? And
That
he's
was a boy.
positive. Yeah, it
That
was
was a
that little
girl.
boy. Yeah, yeah, I did too, but it was a boy. He just had long hair, but yeah, he he's positive for the infection, so they inject him with a syringe that will make him go bye bye, and then
Yeah, and
uh
while
Peacefully
they're
though.
injecting it, the one lady is like, it's gonna be okay.
well
We're gonna once you're all better, we're gonna get you some food. We're gonna get you all the toys that you want to play with.
yeah, but then they have to kill him because he's infected. So yeah, and then what happens next is Joe is helping burn bodies with the other people, and the girl with Joe doesn't want to throw the boy into the fire or into the ash pit, so Joe throws it in very like he doesn't have a care in the world because he's already lost a child, so it's already phased him. He's already been through that, so he's kind of stone cold right now. And so after that, he does that to clean up the ashes, and then he gets his job done, and then he asks for a new job from Fedra, the government in this universe, and they give him a sewer maintenance job, and then he's like, okay, cool, whatever, and he just goes on his way, and then we meet. Is this when we meet Tess then?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Is this the Tess part? Or is this when he
Yeah,
sells
this
the
is the
dude the
Tess part.
drugs?
Yes. I think Tess.
Wait, no, he sells that soldier the drugs. And he says, don't be trying to sneak out of here. Remember the soldier is? And he's like, oh, well, I'll try not to then. But that soldier's letting him know about unique routes and supplies because Joel's a smuggler. So he smuggles stuff in and out of the city. And then we meet Tess. And she's
And she
talking
just
to
got
Rob.
she's got
Yeah,
a bunch
she's
of
getting
bruises on her face.
getting beat up by Robert's guys.
Good.
Hmm.
Wait, who's Robert?
That guy that they were getting the car battery from. That guy
Okay.
she was talking to when she was in that chair, tied down. Because
Yes.
she was
I
like,
knew who.
I
I knew
won't.
who.
Yeah,
What
she
you're
was.
talking about. I just didn't know his name was Robert.
Yeah, she was like, Robert, I won't let Joel come in and hurt you or whatever. Can you just please get us a
Yeah,
good
I'll tell
battery?
him some teenagers jumped me.
Yeah, and stuff. He's just like, I won't let him know. Just please, just get us a battery because you already scammed me out of one. You took my money and my battery, so please just get me a new one. And then he's like, okay, I'll try to do my best, Tess. And then the ball gets blown up. WM, who's attacking? WM's like, I can't remember the name of these people, so you got to do it. The Fireflies start to attack the Boston KZ quarantine zone. And then Tessa's like, I'm not a firefly. I'm not a firefly. And then the government people knock her out. Remember?
Yeah.
And then Joel goes to see the radio man to ask about where Tommy's location is. And he's like, he's somewhere up in Wyoming, somewhere near the Cody Tower. And Joel's like, okay, is that all you have? And he says, yes. He's like, this ain't right. He's been missing for 3 weeks. And then the dude's like, Joel, I swear, if anything comes through, I'll get it. And he's like, okay. And then he just kind of leaves in a huff and then goes to grab his weapons and stuff from his secret hole in the ground, his maps and everything. And he starts drinking some alcohol, taking some pills. Lovely combination. But he finds the map. He finds his map and marks where Tommy's location last was, right?
Yeah.
And so he's gonna go find Tommy, and then he goes to sleepy by. He's tired. He's like, I gotta go to sleep. And then he wakes up. He wakes up to see Tess with him. And then he's like, how'd you get beat up, Tess? and she's like, I got jumped by some teenagers. Actually, it was Robert's guys. They just scammed us out of a battery, but let's go after him right now. He's like, okay. So
Okay.
he's like, okay. So they get information on Robert, where his location, and then they go to see. They go to his location. They see that all of Robert's people and him have been wiped out by Marlene and the Fireflies. And Tess finds that Robert was going to sell him a bad battery anyway. So it's better that he's dead, I guess. But Marlene and the Fireflies offered Joe and Tess a deal. If you smuggle the girl they have with them, Ellie. Oh, by the way, we forgot to mention Ellie's been locked up by the Fireflies. and Marlene told her that she's the cure to probably ending the fungus. Remember? And so yeah, Ellie's been chained up with them. So they're like, okay, if you can smuggle this girl out of the city because we think that she's important, if you can smuggle her out, we will get you a battery and weapons, whatever you need. And then Joe and Tess think about it, hesitate for a minute, and then they're like, okay, fine. So they smuggle her out at night. They get through everything, right? They're all good. Everything's good. They're going through the city fine. Everything's going good. And then they get stopped by the soldier that Joe saw pills with, remember? And at the end, he's like, no, we're doing this proper. We're doing a proper inspection of all you all. I told you not to come out here, man. And then Joe's like, I'll give you half off of everything. And I'll give you half off of everything and all that. And no, and he's like, all off. I want everything and the money from this job. And they're like, okay. So he scans Joe and Tess, and they're good, right? But then Ellie's getting scanned, and then she stabs the dude. And then Joel beats him to death. And then, yeah, Tess sees that Ellie's infected. She's like, I'm not. And he's like, and then Joel and Tess are like, no, we got to go anyway. It doesn't matter. And so they run away. And that's the end of episode 1 of The Last of Us on HBO.
The Last of Us.
All right, episode 2 now. But let's just get right on into it, boys.
Okie dokie.
So we're going to start episode 2, Infected. Joel and Tess have been watching Ellie for the night, right? So like that she would turn in the night, right? She would be, if she isn't really infected, she would be turned already, and she's not. So like, okay. And then they find a way to try and test her or something to see if she is infected, and nothing seems bad with her. So they're like, okay, fine, we'll get you to the capital where we need to get you. So they go and they're walking through through Boston. Ellie sees where the military drop bombs everywhere to try and stop the infected and everything. And she asks about that, and they're like, yeah, that's what happened. They drop bombs everywhere. And then, they're still walking through the city. Everything's going well. They make it to the location they wanted to, right?
Right.
And then they see that there is a giant horde on their path. So they're like, shit, we can't go the short way. I guess we got to go the long way for the museum. So they go the long way for the museum, and they get caught. They get entangled with some clickers in the museum. They have a big fight scene with the clickers and stuff, right?
Yeah. Hey,
And
Nick.
then,
Nick.
yeah, he's.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Parker got scared by the clickers in the museum, so he went, "Oh fuck!" When we watched this together, literally, he screamed at the top of his lungs. So, but yeah, but they get out of the museum. They fight all the clickers off. They shoot them, bash their heads in, whatever. Everything's going good, and then they walk across a wooden plank to the other building. And then Ellie and Joel see the Capitol and like, is that everything you're hoping for, kid? And Ellie's like, jury's still out. And then Tess walks by him and is like, we don't got a lot of time, let's go, fellers. And then Ellie's like, okay. And then Joel just looks on at them both. And Tess is like, you coming, cowboy? And then they make it to the Capitol. They find that all the Firefly informants are dead, have either been shot, infected, whatever. And then And then Joel kills one of them and steps on the infected strand, which sends all of the zombies coming, Parker.
Oh no.
All the zombies are running towards them like it's Mardi Gras. And so so what happens next is Tess is like, I'm bit, Joel. I got bit. And this is real. Ellie's condition is real. She could be a cure. She's not infected. It's already worse and I just got bit. This is flipping real, Joe. You gotta get her to Bill and Frank's. You got to get her there. And Joe's like, Tess, I don't want to do this. We don't got to do this no more. And then she's like, yes, you do, Joe. Now do it for me. And Joe's
I
like,
remember
okay.
this.
And then he's like, okay. And then Tess is like, and then Tess stays behind, and she gets kissed by a clicker, but then she blows the whole
basically
place
a
up.
suicide bomber.
Yeah, she had like
Yeah,
some difficulty lighting that thing.
Yeah, she had difficulty lighting it, but then she drops it on the gas she spilled on the floor and blows the cap of the building up with all the zombies and her in it. And then Joel and Ellie are starting to go to Bill and Frank's, which is now episode 3, a long, long time. All right, you guys ready for this next episode talk?
Oh god.
This is the one where you, Parker, where you really started to be like, damn, this show is sad. So this is the Bill and Frank episode, also entitled "A Long, Long Time." And
I can cover what happens at the beginning of it.
Go ahead, my man. It's all yours.
Okay, so Joel and what's the girl's name?
Ellie.
Joel and Ellie are like they're camping basically on this trail, and they have some type of conversation. I don't remember what though. And then they get to like this warehouse place, and she's like, "Is there anything bad in here?" And then Joel's like, "Only you." And then she goes to they're looking for stuff, and then she finds something. One of you can say what she finds, and she's like,
"Oh, was it the pocket knife? Wait, where are you right now?" This is when they're out on the. Remember, they're by the water, and she has Joel's jacket on and stuff. That part. This is episode 3.
Okay,
And then,
episode 3, right?
Yeah, no. Episode 3 starts with Joel and Ellie being 10 miles south or 10 miles west of Boston, and then Joel says, "We got a 5-hour hike ahead of us, so get your food in, right?" And then it shows us Bill back when the apocalypse first started.
Well, isn't this the part where
Bill,
okay, never mind.
This is where he's watching over the town, making sure the government leaves the town. Remember?
So this is not the episode where like they come across the plane.
No,
Yeah,
yes, this is it because they come across the before the Bill stuff. They're walking. Remember, it says like 5 hours later, and then they see that plane on their hike.
Yeah.
And then they come across the plane, and then they're walking down this path. They go into this store, right? And
yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they go into the store. Joe and Ellie find their stuff, right? She kills the clicker, unbeknownst to Joel. Yeah, but yeah. And then they leave the store and they're on their way to Bill and Frank's, right? And then they're like, "Well, your Bill's a nice guy and whatever. You just got to be careful with him. So let me do the talking," says Joel. And then it shows you Bill back when the apocalypse first started. Remember, he's in his basement with the cameras and stuff.
He's prepared.
Yeah, and he's like, "I hope these assholes get out of here," or whatever. Remember, you New World Order jackboots. But yeah. But once everyone leaves the town, what does Bill do?
He goes to Home Depot.
WM. He goes to Home Depot. He basically is like, I'm getting everything for free now. And then remember, he comes home with everything that he got, right? And it's just basically starts making the town gourmet, basically. Making it his town.
Making it his town.
That's right. While he's eating dinner, one of his chaps goes off, remember? And he's like, what the heck is that? And then he goes out to check his trap or his hole or whatever, right? And what does he find? What does he find, guys?
A man.
He does find a man.
He's like, I want to.
Man.
He's like, I want to eat. I haven't eaten in 2 days. And then he's like, that doesn't sound so long saying it out loud. And then
you can't come and bring all your stragglers here because if you do, everyone's gonna be expecting free food, and this is not an Arby's. And then Frank's like, well, Arby's didn't serve free food; it was a restaurant. And then they kind of laugh about that. And then he's like, well, can you please just give me some food? You know I'm a bad liar. I won't do anything to you. So Bill's like, okay, I'll give you a chance. And then he makes him a steak dinner. Jesus Christ. He makes him a steak dinner with some potatoes and stuff and some wine. And then they go to play some piano. And what happens next?
Yeah, I'll tell you something. I thought it was gonna be like a whole different scene, because when the one guy started playing that song and wait, okay, hold on. What's the guy with the beard and like the long hair's name?
Bill,
Yeah,
not the science guy.
When Bill's like, oh, not that one. To the song he was about to start playing. I thought it was gonna be like he suddenly goes crazy and has like a flashback of like someone he used to know used to like that song, and then they were like killed or something, and then he was just gonna spontaneously kill this guy, but that's not what happened.
Yeah. But no, what happens is they bonds over food and song, and let's say they get a little romantic.
Oh.
And they go to Bill goes to take a shower, and then they go into bed. They get more romantic, becomes Brokeback Mountain in this bitch. And then the next scene, what was the next part? Oh yeah, it's like what, 5 or 10 years later? What was it? 5? 3? 5? I think it was like 5 years later. And Frank's mad at Bill because he doesn't want to renovate the town. But Frank wants to. And I'm like, well, let's just come to a compromise and let's just, make stuff for people that come our way. And Bill's like, we have no people that come our way. We have no friends. We have no nothing like that. It's only us. But Frank's like, well, if we do, let's just fix up some of the stores and stuff. And Bill agrees with that compromise. And Frank's like, well, I've been talking to a nice lady already on the radio. And Bill's like, what? And this is when they meet Joel and Tess. So what happens when they meet Joel and Tess, guys? Oh my God, does anyone remember?
No.
All right, fine. Bounty Hunter always wants to do it again. Okay, so Joel meets Bill, and they're like, Joel's like, you got a nice place here. I'm glad everything's going well for you. I'm just glad you were able to trust us because I know it's hard these days. Bill's like, yeah, I guess so. And everything, and Frank was giving Tess the house tour while Bill and Joel were eating their food. And everyone's happy. Everyone's having a pretty good time. And then they say goodbye to each other. Bill says, "Oh, we'll be fine. Don't worry about anything." And then, but Frank comes up with the idea to make song codes for the radio to let them know if, like, oh, we're good were in the medium range or were in danger. And this is something we see in the first episode, that at the end of the first episode, the radio code goes off with like the danger song, remember? So Bill and Frank were trying to warn Joel and Tess, but they were gone already, remember? So they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
But so their house gets attacked right after Joel and Tess leaves by raiders or whatever. And Bill's shooting them off, and they're getting electrocuted and blown up by his traps. Frank comes out to save Bill, and then Frank saves Bill from his gunshot wound. Everybody's happy. But now that it's like 10 years later, they're old as crap, right? And then Frank's like, Bill, it's finally my time. I gotta go. I can't keep living. I'm about to die soon. Because he has an illness that's preventing him from walking good and stuff. He has to use a wheelchair mainly. So
Yeah, did
he's
they
like,
ever
well,
say what illness it actually was?
I don't
I
think so.
couldn't figure out if it was like cancer, AIDS. I don't know what it was, but yeah,
Probably AIDS.
maybe. but but Frank's like, well, we just need to do what we always wanted, and so he's like, well, we'll get married, and they do that, like they do their little thing there. You know, they have like Life Day. You know, like they comprise everything that they wanted to do in their life into one day, right? And then they have a final dinner, and then they put a lot like an overdose size amount of pills into their drink, and then they both go to bed and die. And then but they wrote a note for Joel saying, you know, I hope you're doing well, man. I hope everything's all right. But Joel comes in to see them dead first, right? Because he wants to know where they are. He sees them dead in there, and then Ellie finds the note, and then Ellie reads it and says, you know, like, I was glad to call you friends or acquaintances, whatever. You guys can take the truck outside, and I just hope you and Tess are okay as well. I hope
Oh.
nothing bad happens to her. And
Yeah,
that
he's like,
reminded
use my weapons to protect Tess.
Yeah, and then Joel got sad because he's like he feels like he's failed Tess and now Bill and Frank. So he doesn't want to fail Ellie, so he goes outside away from Ellie to kind of cry. And then they get Bill and Frank's truck. They get some music on, and then they leave Bill's town, and they're on their way to Kansas City to go to the next part of where they need to go, because they have to go find Tom. And now we are on to episode 4, everybody. Episode 4. Episode 4. Is everybody ready for this one?
Oh yeah.
And this is the shortest one out of them all, by the way. Do you guys remember episode 4 and 5 better now?
I think so.
Alright, I'll start it off just so you guys can remember, okay? So what happens in this episode is, at the beginning, Joe and Ellie are traveling to Kansas City, trying to just get there, whatever, right? They're just traveling through, making sure everything's good. And they find a roadblock. They're like, I can't go that way. So Joe and Ellie get back into the truck, and they're like, well, I know a path that could get us to like right on the outskirts of the city, and we could get past this roadblock. And then while they're driving, it starts playing Alone and Forsaken. And then they stop in a field for the night to just rest, right? And then they drive the rest of the day. Or they drive the rest of the day to Kansas City. And Ellie's just telling jokes to Joel.
Yeah, doesn't she find the thing in the back of the car?
Yeah, the pun book, and just starts telling him puns and everything. But on their way to Kansas, they get into Kansas City the next day, and then they find a straggler, like please, sir, I need some help. And he's like, Ellie, buckle up or whatever. And she's like, why? And he says he ain't even hurt. And then he rams the dude and starts going through the town. Their window gets shot out by a sniper, and then something gets thrown at them at their thing. So it causes them to crash into a convenience store. And so they're literally just stabbing or shooting and killing everybody that's attacking them and everything. And then one guy, and then Joel's like, Ellie, you gotta go hide. And she obliges him, and Joel kills all of them. But then one gets to jump on Joel, starts choking him out. So Ellie's like, you ain't hurting my daddy figure.
She shoots him.
She shoots him in the leg, in the knee. Yeah, I got an arrow in the knee, and then and then and then Joel's like, Ellie, go back in the crawly hole. Go back in the hole. And then you hear the gunshot go off, and Joel killed him. And
I
then
thought he stabbed him.
he shot him.
Oh.
Maybe stabbed. Whatever. He killed the man. That's all we need to know.
Yep.
So what happens next is Joe and Ellie start going up that building, right? Or going up the stairs or whatever, or going through the building. And then they find some shelter away from everyone for now. And then we meet the leader of the Kansas City Outpost Rebellion, Kathleen or something.
That person.
Yeah, the bitch. So, just being honest. So Kathleen is like talking to a friend that used to be, is talking to a doctor that used to be her friend, and she's like, "Well, Tom or whatever, where is Sam and Henry? Where are they? Where are they?" Like a Batman movie interrogation. And he's like, I can't tell you. I don't know where they went. I saw them one time, and then I left them, and they may be gone. They may be out of the city by now. I don't know. And she's like, well, you better be telling the truth, because if you're not, then yeah. So then she leaves. Then yeah, I'm going to kill you. So she goes outside to see all her troops and stuff. And then she sees all the people that have died because of Joe and Ellie, but she's blaming it on this Henry and Sam, whoever they are. And so she goes back to the doctor and shoots him.
Damn.
Yeah, she's like, he lied to me. Pew, pew, pew. And so,
wait. Didn't we miss something at the beginning of this episode?
Beginning?
Wasn't there that one, like, the thing about the person who studied?
They were siphoning gas and stuff.
Okay, it must be. Well, no, it had to be this episode, because next episode ends where this one started, right? I mean, this one ended.
Well, it gives more back. The next episode gives more backstory into Kathleen and stuff.
Yeah, but the beginning of this one, isn't it? Where the one, like, Chinese lady or something is talking, and she's like, "Is there a cure to this?" Or any?
Oh no! That was episode 2. Oh my God, WM's right. We did miss something. Okay, episode 2. By the way, it showed a doctor, right? That was a mycologist expert and a fungal expert, and she sees that cordyceps is going on a human, and she freaks out, and she's like, "Bomb this city," and she's like, "Bomb Indonesia," right? And she's like, "Take me home to my family."
I spent my whole life studying this. There is no vaccine. There is no
cure. Bomb Jakarta, Indonesia. Yeah, bomb it. And remember, that was in episode 1 on the radio, because it said the bombings in Indonesia that happened today are tragic or whatever, right? So, yes, WM's right. We did miss that from episode 2. So, thank you, WM. You're right. We missed that. Thank you, man. All right, well, back to episode 4 now. What Kathleen kills the doctor, and then Joe and Ellie are talking about killing that guy and everything. He's like, listen, you only need this for protection. Always use a gun for protection, and don't ever think about killing anybody, right? Or just try and be safe with this thing. And Ellie's like, I know, but it's so hard to think about killing and all this. And he's like, I understand, Ellie, don't worry about it. But we just gotta
Don't
be
worry
careful.
about it, feller.
Don't worry about it, kid. We got this. And then after they have their major pep talk, right? They help each other out. They go up the building and find a room where they can lay and sleep, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then they're talking, and then Joel's like, "Wait, what did you mean you killed someone, or you did? It wasn't your first time killing someone." And then Ellie's like, "I don't want to talk about it." And then Joel's like, "Fair enough."
Fair
And
enough.
then Joe and Ellie get awoken by two people pointing guns to their heads. What in the world? And that's
Wait,
the end of
did
episode.
Ellie end up killing her girlfriend in the game?
I'm not spoiling that. That's for a later episode.
Huh?
But
I think I figured it out. I think she killed her girlfriend. I think because she got infected.
yeah, because Marlene said in the first episode, was Riley a terrorist? Because remember, her best friend Riley was a Firefly, and now Riley's dead. Yeah. We're not going to spoil. I'm not spoiling anything for people that haven't watched the game.
Yeah, I haven't played the game.
We're only going by what the show says. So yes. So what happened? So they get woken up by people having guns to their heads, and so we're going to finish with the final episode of The Last of Us, episode 5. This was a sad one, but we're going to go through it. So, of course, episode 5 starts off where episode 4 left off, where Joe and Ellie have guns pointed at them by people named, get ready for it, Henry and Sam. So these are the people that Kathleen is hunting down. And Henry and Sam just want to have someone to help them, right? Get out of the city. And they're like, okay, do we have a deal on that? So if we put the guns down and everything, do we have a deal? You won't hurt us. And Joe's like, sure, fine. He's like, and then Henry's like, I don't like your tone, boy. And then Joe's like, and then Joe's like, okay, fine. I swear I will help you. He's like, I still don't like that tone. And then Ellie's like, he's always like that. He's always a smart ass. Don't worry about it. And then they put their guns down, and then everyone is calm, and they start eating some jerky and talking.
Jerky worky.
Jerky worky, that's right. Freaky deaky jerky worky. They start eating together and stuff. And he's like, well, you fed us and watered us, so I guess we're on good terms right now. And Joe says, I guess. And then,
I guess, feller.
I guess, feller. And then, they go to the boardroom, right? To the boardroom of this office building or whatever they're hiding in. And Henry and Sam lay out the plan. But Henry says the reason why they're being hunted after is because Kansas City, the Kansas City quarantine used to be run by Fedra, right? But they did a lot of bad things. Murder, the RAPE word. They just did a lot of bad stuff, right?
Dang.
The government did. So a rebellion rose up to stop them, but the government was like, well, if you turn in your friends, if you turn in the rebellion, we can help you get what you need, right? And he says, well, I turned. And Joe's like, why'd you turn, feller? And and Henry's like, well, I had to get medicine for my brother. And the one thing I could turn in to the government was Kathleen's brother. So, and they had him kill or tortured and killed for that. So that's why Kathleen's mad at Henry and wanting to find him so bad.
Yeah, aren't we missing like a flashback though, where they get into that building?
Yeah, we're doing my podcast. I'll see you later, man. Good night.
Huh?
I know.
Huh?
Yeah, WM. The flashback we're missing is that doctor from the last episode helped him get into that attic. Remember?
Yeah, and then the guy's
They
like,
they
"There's
they
just one
stay there
problem."
for. There's just one problem. Everyone's looking for you,
Yeah, and
and we
then
don't have.
Henry was like to Sam, "There's just one problem. This place isn't pretty." And then Sam colors like all the walls.
Yeah, and they have 11 days of food, right, or 10 days of food. It runs out, and then the doctor's gone. We know what happened to the doctor, man. He got captured by Kathleen. So Henry and Sam are like, well, he's not here. We got to go. We got to go. So Henry and Sam leave that part, the attic, and then they go down to the downstairs area. And then they hear a lot of gunshots and explosions and stuff. And then Henry's like, what the heck is that? So he gets up on a stool to see what's going on. And then Henry and Sam saw Ellie and Joel shooting those people and fighting back against the rebellion peeps, right? And then Henry's like, I need that guy on my team.
I need that guy on my team.
And then that's why he went to go meet Joel. And so he's like, okay, plan is, I know a way out of here. We got to go through the sewers, right? But the bad thing is that we used to dump all our infected down into the sewers so none of them could reach the surface. So Joe's like, you want us to go through the sewers as possibly crawling with infected? And Henry's like, I swear it won't be. I swear. People said there was nothing down there anymore. And Joel's like, okay, I guess. So they start heading down to the sewer, and they find a playroom, right? Remember they find the playroom down in the sewer because it was like a hidden room, and it had like games and stuff down there.
It's like a daycare.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a
isn't there
little.
like a comic book?
Yeah, and Sam and Ellie bond over the comic book, and then Henry's like, I haven't seen that laughter in years. And then Joel's like, huh, whatever. And
Yeah,
then
laugh.
and then Henry and Sam, or sorry, not Henry and Sam, Henry and Joe start talking, and then Henry's like, well, brother, I know you lost someone, or I know you've had to kill someone before, and I know you've lost someone deeply because you feel the same way I do about my brother.
Yeah,
Not
he's
wanting
like,
to lose.
Ellie may not be your daughter, but someone was.
But someone was, yeah.
Someone was filler.
And then Joe's like, well, that's enough. We got to get going now. And then they leave the sewer, right? And then they walking through this neighborhood. And then Henry, Ellie, and Sam are like, oh man, everything's going good. And then Joel's like, everybody just shut the heck up. And then, well, I guess Joel's advice was right because there was a flipping sniper waiting for him. So Joel does his flipping crouchy ninjutsu moves and starts bolting across the field like Sonic the Hedgehog. Get into this house, sneaks up on the sniper, shoots that bastard once he gets into the house. He's like, I got the sniper. And then he hears on the radio that Kathleen's coming to town, remember?
Kathleen.
Kathleen's coming with the convoy. And so um Joel's like, run! Run! And then Ellie, Henry, and Sam are on remember they're still on the street. So they're right, they see these cars coming, they start bolting ass. And and Ellie jumps inside a car. Oh no, sorry. Ellie is hiding, they're hiding behind the car, right? And then Kathleen shows up and is like, Henry, come out now. I know you're up there because she thinks Joel is the one that had the sniper. She thinks Henry's the one that was shooting down or had the sniper now, remember?
Yeah.
So she's like, get down here now. And he's like, I'm over here. I'm over here. If you just don't kill the kids. And he's like, well, Henry, you and Sam were the ones that did this, so the kids have to die too. If you're like, Jesus Christ. and
I
then,
did not like that character.
and then WM, you know what happened. Oh, and then there was some backstory about like Kathleen loved her brother and everything. He was such a good brother. I'm so mad that Sam and Henry killed him. I'm going to get my revenge. And then her right hand man's like, we got you, don't worry. And they killed all the traitors too, remember? They killed everybody they thought was a traitor as well. So, yeah, these people are crazy, so I'm glad they kind of died. But,
Oh,
sorry. The bloater and the clickers start appearing, remember? Clickers start flipping. Once Henry is confronting Kathleen, clickers start running out, zombies start coming out. It's like flipping Michael Jackson Thriller video. They all just start dancing on the street. No, I'm just joking. They start killing all of Kathleen's people. And then big boy Hulk bloater zombie comes out of the ground, bro. And that thing just starts shredding ass through
that thing was
everybody.
like huge.
I know it's the 20-year infected. Remember, because that's the longest. That's the biggest a clicker can become. And it's been infected for many years. And that bitch just sprawled out of the ground, bro. And he was like, I'm here. It just starts killing everybody on Kathleen's team. Ellie jumps into a car to escape a clicker. She escapes the car and locks the clicker inside. And then she tries to go save Henry and Sam. Joel shooting clickers and Kathleen's people to protect Ellie, Henry, and Sam. It's crazy. They all escape, and the bloater kills all of Kathleen's people and Kathleen as well. So, yay. So, the
Yay.
next, yay, that bitch is dead. Hooray, that bitch is dead. but what but what happens next? Joe, Ellie, Henry, and Sam find a motel to sleep in, right?
Oh
Ellie and
no. Oh
Ellie
no.
Ellie and
Oh.
Sam are reading comics, and then Joe and Henry are talking like, "You my brother now, man. You want to go to my Wyoming?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, man. I'll go." And then, then Ellie and Sam are reading comics, and then, gosh darn it, flipping Sam. What happened to Sam? WM? What did she
I
show
can tell
Ellie?
you.
He got bit.
Okay, Parker.
He got
He got
bit.
he got bit, and then Ellie's like, "I can cure you. My blood should be the cure." And and well, um, and then she's like, "Well, just go to bed. Don't worry about anything." And Henry's like, "Yeah, just go to bed." And everyone's like, "Just go to bed, Sam." And Ellie's the only one that knows he's bit. So they wake up the next morning, right? Ellie's like, "Hey, Sam, what you doing?" What does Sam do, everybody?
Attacks her.
Yeah.
He flipping turds, bitches. That man is a zombie now. It's Zombie Boy. Now Zombie Boy is attacking Ellie. And then Joe and Henry are like, "Oh shit!" and, then, and then Henry pulls out his gun and shoots Sam out of fear, right? And then Henry's
Yeah.
like, "What
And
have
he's
I
like, what
done?"
did I just do? What did I just do?
And then Joe's like, "Henry, put the gun down, Henry, Henry." And then Henry shoots himself.
Because he thinks he has nothing to live for anymore.
Yeah. And then Joe and Ellie bury Henry and Sam, and then Ellie leaves Sam's notepad on Sam's grave because he's deaf, so he had to write notes. Remember, that's how
Yeah.
Sam's been talking to him. He had to write the notes, and on his grave, she put on the notepad, "I'm sorry," and left it there. And Joe saw that, and then they both walk away. And at the end of the episode, it plays this song, which I love now, called "Fuel to Fire." And it's just a very sad song. But yeah, that is the end of The Last of Us on HBO for right now. We have 4 more episodes left, which is very exciting. But yeah, this is the end of the episodes for right now. So, WM and Parker, what did you guys think about The Last of Us on HBO Max?
99% good.
99% good. What was the 1% bad?
Episode 3.
Okay. That's fine.
I give it like a 98 or no, actually just a 90. The 10% was mainly sad though.
Yeah, and I give this show an overall glowing recommendation because this show sticks true to the game. It is amazing. It is a great adaptation. Please go watch The Last of Us on HBO Max. We are not sponsored, but we think it's a great show. So go watch it, have some fun with it, and we will see you guys for the final 4 episodes next time on the Building and Chatting podcast. Thank you for watching, and we will talk to you all next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.